Let's turn now to Srini Pajjuri. He's a managing director and senior analyst at Raymond James with a strong buy on Nvidia. Srini, welcome to you. We can pick up on where we just left off there. And you see the Middle East is actually perhaps a bigger deal than what we might hear on China.
Yeah, so China, what we said in our preview, Kelly, is that it's probably about a $4 billion revenue headwind for the July quarter. And as a result, our expectation is that July guidance is going to be relatively flattish. The consensus is showing about $3 billion growth or so. But our expectation is that it's going to be relatively flattish. But the good thing is that once we get past this quarter, the second half is looking very strong. And also 2026 is actually starting to look better because of Middle East. One of the concerns that investors had before, the tariffs was that, 2025 could be the peak year of AI spending. And with Middle East coming in, we do think that the Blackwell cycle will probably extend not only into the first half, but potentially into the second half of 26.
What do you think about the pitch that Jensen Huang himself is making, that we need to give them market access to China, or else they'll be shut out, their market cap and U.S. dominance of this industry will therefore suffer, and the Chinese firms will leap ahead with their own technology and their own winners?
Yeah, look, there is competition in China, especially from Huawei, and they also proven that, they're not that far behind in terms of the models. We've seen what, DeepSeek, is capable of. So I think it's a valid argument, but it's up to the administration to decide whether, they're going to allow Nvidia to sell into, China or not. But, our view is that longer term, Middle East, and the fact that, all the AI diffusion rules have now gone away, that probably is going to be, more than offsetting the China impact longer term. But in the end, even if Nvidia is not able to address the China demand, we do think that there's enough demand outside of China to sustain this kind of growth.
And so that's what gets you to a 150 price target, is thinking that into next year we see not necessarily a downward inflection point, but potentially an upward one because of this demand from, the areas we've talked about and others.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, if you look at the cloud spending, Kelly, over the years, the cloud customers do spend for a while, and at times, they take a pause. They can't keep on spending like this without, the returns on investment. And at some point, we're going to see that pause. Or at least, we feel better that because of Middle East, that pause is probably not going to happen in the next 12 months. So, but at some point, we need to be prepared for that pause. And we think it's going to be a temporary pause because we are believers in longer term, AI, story here.
All right, Srini, for now, thanks. Appreciate it. It'll be an interesting, I was going to say fun afternoon, but you never know. Srini Pajjuri of Raymond James.